What is up, internet? Bloody Nux here, aka the Gothic Gamer of LV1 Gaming and the Mad Dragon, here with another wonderful review, guys. And I have one that I am absolutely excited for, one that's been years in the comings, and that is specifically about Kena Bridge of Spirits. For those who don't know, Kena Bridge of Spirits has been a console exclusive to the PlayStation platform for quite some time, but is now officially out on other platforms, and specifically the Xbox platform. And I gotta tell you, this game was something to absolutely behold, something that was so charming, and a reason why so many people gushed when the game first launched. But let's talk about how it looks, how it plays, the story, and everything else here, now that it's on a brand new platform for a brand new community. And again, we want to give a shout out here to the team for providing a key for this review. And if you haven't already had a chance to, know this is your spoiler warning, as we are going to go into a little bit of the story elements. So that being said, let's jump right on in. Now, one way you can describe the story of Kena Bridge of Spirits is that it truly is a spirited journey. It follows Kena, who is a spirit guide, who's on a mission to help souls be able to truly pass on and move and grow into the afterlife, finally letting go in their place here in the world. And where the game takes place, it's a truly lush, overgrown world that's almost forgotten, but it's taken place within a village set in the mountains. And Kena knows that there is a spirit that refuses to move on, and because this spirit has yet to move on, it's causing corruption and rot and change to the world, because there is no sense of letting go, no sense of moving on, no understanding to that. And you, as the story progresses on, you meet other spirits, others who are a part of this world, some so young, some so old, and how they've seen the changing of life and everything else. And it has so much that can be understood. There's very few games that really kind of embrace that concept of after life there comes a time where it's time to let go, where things have to change to really find that peace, especially as we look at the concept of spirits. It's hard to let go, but sometimes you need it to be able to find that tranquility. That's why games like Spiritfarer were so hard hitting, because of the fact that they really touched on that topic. And it's never easy, and the way that they present it in Kena is that it's very lighthearted at certain times, but you got to understand that a lot of the spirits are touched in tragedy, and it has a very, very well done presentation, as you understand between the twins Benny and Saya, understanding their brother Taro, and everyone else who gets kind of presented throughout the story. It's all told in bits and pieces and flashbacks and memories, even for parts of Kena's own backstory. It's very enigmatic, and a lot of stuff to be explored, not just in this game, but potentially what could come afterwards. There's still stuff that wasn't fully explained and kind of left open to interpretation or to your own speculation. And I love that, because the fact that there was so much that was well done within this, but didn't take away for the future possibility of doing more. The story that was told within Kena is very self-contained, and I love that for what it was presenting. Now, for the visuals of this game, it has to be one of the most beautiful, spectacular set pieces that I have seen. I was like, from the backgrounds in the world set within the mountains, and understanding the vast amounts of green that is uncovered throughout the forest as you play through here. But not only that, but the visual style, having that almost stop motion kind of clay look, but very vibrant looking, very fluid, and at an absolute presentation that it was something out of an animated film. It's almost Pixar-esque in how it's presented, and that is just mind-blowing in the fact of how well it looks. It just pops out between Kina's design, the other spirits, and especially the Rot. The Rot themselves as spirits are so adorable that their personality shines in the way that they're presented as you find them throughout the game, but also when you have certain interactions with them, and it's all stems from this very cute aesthetic that just makes the game pop. I was like, and especially with the fact of the visuals that you can offer, from whether you're looking at the game and the quality mode at 4K 30 FPS, which the 30 FPS does not look bad, the 4K looks stunning, but if you really want that performance, I was like, the 60 FPS mode and the slight reduction in the visual fidelity, I believe it's 1440, but it looks still so good. You couldn't even tell the difference because of the way that the art makes it completely stand out. Everything in this game just looks beautiful, and that just is a testament to the work that Ember Labs really put into with everything. Now, when it comes to the audio is honestly, I'm gonna keep this short, clean, and simple. I was like, the audio is so well done. The voice acting, phenomenal. The soundtrack is amazing. Literally every little sound that you can hear from the background to the characters are so well done. You can hear the little tapping of the feet of the Rot following you around, hearing the little giddy noises of excitement and everything else. It all just sounds, it feels so good, and especially just the soundtrack. It's so epic. It sets the perfect mood for a lot of set pieces throughout the game, and there's nothing that takes away from it. And even at certain points, it adds to the visuals, creating like an almost visual spectacle along with certain tracks. It's just hard to take away. I was like, now there was some slight audio issues here and there that came from, and maybe just a few performances. I was like, while I really love the voice acting, there's certain parts where it just kind of felt a little bit off. Maybe it was just the way that it was being recorded at the time. It didn't necessarily have all the emotional impact that I would have liked, but that's not to take away from the acting and the writing overall. I was like, it was phenomenal, but that is just something to be aware of. And of course, as always, we have the gameplay, and I gotta tell you what, the gameplay of Kina is one that absolutely stands out. I was like, it's very familiar to a lot of action RPGs nowadays. It's very, you know, if you've played anything, whether that's Assassin's Creed all the way to I don't even know, pretty much everything is using the same action RPG formula. You know, you have one of your triggers as a heavy attack, light attacks on your bumpers and things like that, your jump, dodge, and even using the way that you interact with the Rot. It uses a lot of stuff that may be, you know, akin to spells and stuff like that. You have the ability to gain not necessarily arrows, but kind of like mana blast from the staff and everything else. Everything just feels very familiar, but that's not to take away from it. I was like, it's very fresh in the way that it approaches it, especially with the way that it starts touching on environmental puzzles and abilities, because as you play throughout the game, the Rot level up. As you find more of them, unlock their abilities from fighting enemies, unlocking stuff. There's a lot of things that they're able to do, the way you upgrade your abilities and how it offers new exploration, new puzzles, but also the way the combat works, because you can unlock additional courage slots, which are these charges that you get that allow your Rot to have courage to join you in a fight, and you can use them to, you know, bind enemies or stun them, or you may find some enemies drop what's called a forest tier, and when you pick that up, it gives the Rot the ability to kind of touch into their original form, where they're kind of able to kind of like slither around in this weird big amalgamation of all of them, and they can attack enemies, you know, doing slams, spins, and all sorts of other stuff, and actually do a lot to really help out in combat. It's, you have to use, you know, you have to move yourself and them at the same time, so it's kind of turned into a little twin stick, and it can be a little bit, it can be a little bit visually off-putting or a little bit discombobulating at first, but it still plays out really well. It offers a lot. And then when you look at the puzzles, you know, having to use the forest tears, the Rot, to clean up a lot of the corruption that has completely taken over the world, or have them pick up items that you can find to move to other locations to be able to, hey, I gotta jump through here, I need y'all to move this this block from here to here. There's a lot that it all adds into, and with the many different difficulty modes, it makes it very easily accessible for a lot of players who aren't used to those types of games. I was like, it does have a bit of a difficulty spike, especially during some fights where they give you waves. You know, you're fighting 3-4 enemies and they're not necessarily hard, but as they started adding into the variety, you know, characters with shields, stronger, bigger enemies, faster, and stuff like that, it can be a little bit daunting for players who aren't always used to that type of action RPG. But the fact is that it's not necessarily bad. It definitely is going to be it's going to catch you off guard if you're not ready for it, but at least on the lower difficulties, it's still very forgiving for those players who aren't used to that style of games. When you start adding in the harder difficulties, which change up how you get your abilities, which is, instead of being able to get courage like for your Rot from attack and defense, you can only get it by attacking, so you have to be a lot more aggressive and things like that. Your health doesn't always regen outside of combat. Things like that really adds into the difficulty for those who like that particular type of challenge. But again, that's nothing to take away from what the game does well, and it does a lot well. Along with the base game that has come out, it also comes out with all the extra content and updates that are being included, that was in the anniversary update. That's things such as the photo mode for players who like to take in-game captures or screenshots. There is a new game plus, as well as there's also combat and platforming trials that can be unlocked later on to be able to lock more skins. So there's definitely a plethora of content for those who want to replay the game after they finish the main game. So it's definitely wonderful for those who want to get the most out of their time with the game, and there's definitely quite a bit here to get the most out of your time. Overall, Kena Bridge of Spirits is an absolute darling of an indie game, and it goes to show what you can do when you have a clear vision and have the passion for what you do. Like I said, the gameplay doesn't do anything new, but it feels good with what they did here, trying to really encapsulate the theme of their game. It plays well, it looks well, it's wonderful, it's just stunning in all the best ways possible. And it's not a very long game, and sometimes that's the best thing, is that it doesn't need to be no 200-hour game. I was like, it's a good, easy done 10, maybe 15 hours, depending on difficulty, depending on your level of interaction and how much you put into it. There's a lot here to get the most out of your time for something that's very small, and it's definitely well worth your time. So again, we want to give a big shout out to Ember Lab for providing the game for us here for the review. We appreciate you all, guys. If you haven't already, go check out Kena Bridge of Spirits. You can find the link for the game down below on the Xbox platform. Of course, it is already available on other platforms as well, so go and check it out here. But with that being said, guys, I was like, I'm Bloody Nux here. You can find the links to all my socials down below and all the other reviews that I've done here on the channel if you go and check out our review playlist. Of course, you can find the links to everything that I do over on my channel, as well as the fact that I stream up to 5 times a week. So if you want to see me playing all sorts of random games, come check it out. And of course, if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of great content. We have a lot of amazing, talented people here who are always doing something new. And of course, if you want to get some great news, great reviews, as well as wonderful thoughts, I was like, make sure to check out our plethora of live shows here. We have a bunch of amazing people always doing something new. But with that being said, guys, we hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your time. And remember, you can always get your start at level 1. Until next time, peace out and check you later, everybody.